Growing up in the 80s and the 90s was such a fantastic experience, particularly if you were a big fan of the arcades. I spent so much time, so much money in the arcades, but I made a lot of friends, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my youth. So I'm really excited now that Arcade 1UP is being able to bring a lot of these classic 80s and 90s arcades and being able to really sell them to the public and for people to have access to it and for parents to teach, and show this to their kids and have fun with them. So now that they're bringing, of course, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and some of the Marvel games back, I decided to make a list that compiles some of the great arcades of the time, some that we haven't seen in a more recent format. So in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to give you this list, so stay tuned. Number 1, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Now, this game came out in 1990, and there was a port. It was a different version that was done for home computers. But the Sega arcade cabinet was definitely out of its time. It was a different game when it came out. It was up to 3 players, and it was different. It was based on the 1988 film, which is okay, but the game was fantastic. When I think about Moonwalker, I don't think about the movie. I think about the video game. It was fun. It was pretty much a beat 'em up. Run and gun. It has all the quirkiness, of course, of the movie, all the weirdness of it. There were even monkeys running around, but definitely was a fantastic arcade game. Number 2, Snow Brothers 1 and Snow Brothers 2. The first one came out in 1990. The second one came out in 1994. Now, this is a platform game that you up to 2 players, and it was a fun game. I really have a lot of fun in there. You have to battle different levels with different monsters, and you have to pretty much cover them in snow, and then that's how they defeat it. And of course, there's a timer. It was a fantastic game. I really love it. It was very addictive, and I spent a lot of time playing the first one, and also I did play the second one. Number 3, Captain America and the Avengers, that it was developed by Data East and came out in 1991. Now, this game was fun, and definitely that was even prior to the popularity, I would say, of the Avengers. It was really fun. You could choose between Captain America, Iron Man, the Vision, and Hawkeye. Even Hawkeye was popular then. But definitely it was small. It was not as, I would say as pretty as some other arcade beat 'em ups, but definitely had a lot of charm, and you were playing, with your favorite superheroes, and you go to these different levels and you battle other villains from the Marvel universe. It was definitely very fun. There was a lot of different levels, and it was really different and a one of a kind during this time. Number 4, SpiderMan, the video game. Now, this game was developed by Sega and came out in 1991. You can choose up to 4 players between Spider-Man, Submariner, Black Cat, Hawkeye, even Hawkeye again. It seems like he was very popular then. But definitely it's very fun, very colorful. The first boss, or the first battle, you battling with Venom. But what I like about this game a lot is just the artistry. It is very nice looking. It was rendered like color well. So you can see these real nice depictions of the characters, and I have fun. And then it has different levels, and you do a couple of things in different levels. It was one of the funnest arcades based on comic book characters, and I really love it. And unfortunately, we haven't seen a new version or any other in years. So definitely I would like to see it again. Number 5, The Simpsons. This is a fantastic game, one that everybody's asking for. People want to play it again. This one came out originally, it was done by Konami and came out in 1991. And it was definitely a classic, and still a classic. Up to 4 players, and it's so much color. It's so well based on the characters. And I don't think that any other Simpsons game, and I have played all of them, have been as good as this arcade version. This was the greatest and still the greatest. Recently we have the opportunity to play it on, I would say, on the Xbox Live and the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation Network and PS3, but they haven't released it on the newer console, so we haven't seen a newer version. So definitely that's something that we will like to see again. Number 6, Tumbo Pop. This game was released by Data East in 1991. It is a platform up to 2 players. I have so much fun with this game back in the day. It was fantastic, going from level to level, and you use this vacuum and a backpack with a vacuum, and you pretty much track all this all this monsters and ghosts, and then you release them. It was really fun. The levels were smartly designed, and you go pretty much travel throughout the world, and it was so much fun. I spent so much money playing that because it was highly addictive. So I would like to see it again. They released it and they ported to the Game Boy and then to the 3DS, so of course the Game Boy version, and it's in the Virtual Console. I think still there, but I would like to see the arcade version brought back to through Arcade 1-Up or on the PS4, the Xbox One, or Nintendo Switch. Number 7, Sunset Riders, and a lot of people are asking for this one as well. Fantastic side-scrolling run and gun, up to 4 players. It was developed by Konami, came in 1991. Konami definitely created so many games during that time. This game was also ported to the Mega Drive, which is Sega Genesis here in North America, but also the Super Nintendo, and those versions are good too. I like those versions. They're up to 2 players, but of course the arcade, it was such a fantastic game, very colorful, and definitely well done, well executed, and has a lot of great levels. And man, that needs to be brought. Arcade 1-Up needs to bring it back, or it needs to be ported to the newer consoles. Number 8, XMan, and of course this needs to be counted as well. The 1992 classic arcade game developed by Konami. You can choose up to 6 players, although there were different cabinets that you can choose 2 players or 4 players. There was one that you can choose up to 6 players. So you could choose between Cyclops, Colossus, Wolverine, Storm, Nightcrawler, Dazzler. Fantastic games. Those games were released for the PlayStation Network and Xbox Live, and either for iOS and Android a few years back, but they're no longer available. So they haven't been re-released for newer consoles. So I would like to see them, whether Arcade 1-Up does it, or whether it's brought to the Switch or the PS4 or the Xbox One. It really needs to be brought back. It is one that is considered, and it deserves to always be remembered as a classic. Number 9, G.I. Joe, the video game, came out in 1992, also developed by Konami. A fantastic third-person rail shooter, and you can choose up to 4 players. You can choose between Duke, Snake Eyes, Scarlet, and Roadblock. Definitely a fantastic game. I love it so much. It hasn't seen a port since then. But it's such a fantastic. I spent so much time in it. It's very addictive, and of course, it brings all the the G.I. Joe as we know him from the cartoons all into this arcade, and definitely it was fantastic, hectic, and definitely I would like to see Arcade 1-Up, bringing it back or to come into newer consoles. Number 10, and I'm going to cheat again, NBA Jam and NBA Jam Tournament Edition. They need to be brought together as one single pack. Those two are fantastic, and of course we have the NBA Jam Fire Edition that was available and still available on the PlayStation Network for the PS3 and the Xbox One, that you can get it actually and play also on the Wii, and also came in mobile, and you can still play it. They have these newer versions, but they're nothing like the classic. The classics were great. Of course, the NBA Jam came in 1993. The Tournament Edition came a year later and expanded, added more content. They changed the rosters, but man, those games were fantastic, and so many people spent so much time playing in the arcades with them. There were up to 4 players. It was fun. It was quirky. It was, I would say, irreverent sometimes, and it was developed by Midway, and definitely it was a fantastic game of the time, and definitely I really would like to see it. There's some rumors that actually they're gonna be brought by Arcade 1-Up, but until that time comes, I'm definitely going to say I want it. Number 11, and again, I'm going to cheat with this one. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, that came out in 1991, in combination with Revolution X, that came in 1994. Now, these games were developed by Midway, and there were, of course, up to 2 players, rail shooters, fantastic shooters. Terminator 2 was great, but I would say Revolution X was even better. It was pretty much based on the Aerosmith. It was an adventure when you go in and you actually throw in some discs, and it was just crazy. And of course, you got in the background the music of Aerosmith. And I can tell you one thing, I was not a big fan of Aerosmith during that time. I was more into Guns N' Roses, so it was not really, I didn't care much about Aerosmith. There was a time where you have to choose between you like Aerosmith or you like Guns N' Roses, and I prefer Guns N' Roses. And and my brother was more into Metallica, so definitely there were crazy times then. But the game was fun, you kind of, it was disrespectful. It was Midway game, so definitely you see the blood, you see the gore. It was definitely fun, and definitely we haven't seen no versions of it in years. Of course, there were different versions that were done for the SNES, for the Genesis, for the Saturn, for the PlayStation, and all of that. But that was it. I haven't seen a port of it in years, so I would like to see them again. Definitely, that will be fun to watch again, and definitely fun to play. And number 12, and this is going to be another combo, and I'm talking about Darkstalkers, and I'm talking about the 3 versions. Darkstalkers The Night Warriors, the first one that came in 1994, Darkstalkers Revenge that came in 1995, and Darkstalkers 3 that came in 1997. These games have been ported to other versions, the PlayStation, the Saturn, even on PSN and Xbox Live through Darkstalkers Resurrection, but until last generation of consoles. So we haven't seen a new port for, in this case, for the PS4, the Xbox One, or the Nintendo Switch. And definitely that will be an easy to make combo, and pretty much have a cabinet with the 3 games together like they did with Mortal Kombat. And definitely that will be another way to do it. And those are fantastic. They're very fun to play, and they're pretty much some of the best Capcom fighters from that generation. So really, I will give my vote for that. I think it needs to be made. Now, in this list, I'm compiling some of those games that I would like to see again. There's plenty of games. I can go on and on and on, and there's so many different games of that era. But many of those games, for example, they already been compiled in other collections on newer consoles, like Capcom Collection, and they are coming into even Neo Geos. They have a lot. You can pretty much play them on the newer consoles, through different versions. So, and even like I was thinking about Alien vs Predator, which is a fantastic game, but that's coming. It's going to be released for the first time through the Capcom Home Arcade. So in a couple of months. So definitely I couldn't consider this. The list that I have here is games that we don't have a say, or there's no official announcement if they're going to be released in one way, shape, or form. So those are great games that I believe that should be ported again, whether it's through Arcade 1-Up or whether it's through newer consoles. We definitely would like to see them again, and definitely they are fantastic, and they're fantastic then, and they're still fantastic now. So, but what is your opinion? Do you have any particular arcade game that you prefer? Is any on this list that you like, or any that you dislike? Please share your thoughts below. I would like to hear them. So once again, thanks for watching. God bless you, and I'll talk to you again. Bye bye.